Now we're really live. This is another one of many consultation. Take 2, 3 or 4. Okay, Sue, introduce yourself. Say hi to the world.
Hi world, my name is Sue Izzo. I am here with Ryan Foland, the one and only.
The one of many gingers, but yes, the one and only of me.
Mm-hmm.
And you are a ginger as well.
Well, yeah.
Are you claimed? Do you claim it?
No. I kind of turn into a ginger in the summer months, but my father is a ginger.
Okay.
And my nephew is a ginger.
Ginger blood.
Ginger
is what
blood.
We're talking about.
Right here.
So we were just chatting behind
Yeah.
the booth, and she was asking questions, and I went, wait a minute. This sounds like a mini consultation. We might as well document it. And
Yes.
one of the easiest and best strategies when it comes to social media is to document what's happening. If you're like talking with somebody, you're like, this is a great conversation, why not go live with it?
Record
In
it.
fact, why not go live with Periscope as well?
Why not?
So tell them a little bit about yourself as
Sure.
a backdrop, and then how we met. And by that time, I will have
You
gone
got it.
live on Twitter.
Perfect. My name is Sue Izzo, as I told you a moment ago. I founded my first company when I was 24 years old. I started a sports management agency focusing on athletes in the action sports arena, so professional surfers, snowboarders, and then soon enough I represented television hosts. I did that for 18 years, sold my company, then started teaching business owners marketing for the past 2 years for an amazing company called Basic Bananas out of Australia. And I was asked to speak at a conference at Entreport, which is a CRM company. They have a big entrepreneurial conference in October called Entrepalooza. I was speaking there about perception and positioning, and Ryan Foland was speaking there about his 313 method, which blew my mind. It's not what you do, it's the problem you solve. And I knew after watching him speak, I needed to meet him, I needed him to become my friend, I needed everything from Ryan Foland. And so here we are at the Influencer Marketing Conference up here in Los Angeles.
Okay, and I'm cheating in here because
Yeah.
we're going to go live on Periscope. We are talking about Twitter. So
Yes.
tip number 1 is that when you can repurpose. All right, so we're going to go live,
Okay.
and there we are.
there we
right?
go.
And check this out. We need a little bit of
To do the
we need to set the scene here. Maybe
that.
maybe we'll get this right here.
There you go.
Oh, that's too far.
There you go.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I like it.
Perfect. We got it.
And if you can't see that, we're setting up the scene because if you have a chance to brand it, why not?
Why not?
Okay. So, Sue, you know that I like Twitter. In fact, I love Twitter. No offense to Instagrammers or Facebookers or all that kind of stuff, but I prefer the platform of Twitter for a number of reasons. And many times people will ask me, how do you do that? What do you do? And I'm a pretty open ginger book when it comes to what I do. So, ask away and we
Sure.
will share with everyone.
So I'm kind of new to Twitter.
Okay.
Instagram has kind of been my thing. Visual person, but I really love the conversations that are had on Twitter.
Yes.
And actually, you really inspired me on Twitter. And so, my question for you, one of 250 questions for you, is.
Real quick, if you're on Periscope, you have to have the volume up in order to engage the volume. Which is, again, I found this out by mistake. I did a 20-minute live stream and people were not hearing me. So now everybody can hear. Sometimes you do a check. Audio cutting in and out. That's because the reception kind of sucks. See? No sound. And
No
now there should be
sound.
sound. Now there should be sound.
How do we sound?
Let's
Can
see.
you hear us now?
Can you hear us now?
Bueller?
Bueller? Can we hear us? We're getting hearts, so we're good.
No audio.
No audio.
Are
Why
our
is
mics
that?
on?
Let's see. There is no Wi-Fi, and maybe it's because I've got my hotspot on.
Oh,
Okay.
super hot spot.
Let's see. All right. Well, that broadcast didn't work,
We're sorry, Periscope people.
so we're gonna do this again. We're gonna go live again.
All right.
Do you know how to go live?
No, show me.
Okay. So going live on Twitter, you click on the image button,
Okay.
and now they have this feature where you can scroll to the live.
Ah,
People get confused. Periscope is an app, a standalone app that is owned by Twitter, and they're integrated between. And there's a new feature as a couple months ago where actually people can join in the Periscope now through audio, which is totally crazy. So we're going to do take 2,
Okay.
With Sue, oh, that rhymes.
Take two with Sue. Let's do this.
With Sue Izzo, talking shop about Twitter.
Yes.
Hopefully with sound this time.
I have faith in us.
Okay, now this is a good example of, and I'm going to put the hashtag for the conference in case anybody wants to pick it up. Hashtag is a big part of what we'll talk about. MCX. Okay, so now we are going to go live.
All right.
So if you saw there, wait a minute.
We need to flip that screen. There we go.
Okay. Yeah, that was a dirty screen.
There.
Up that close.
Perfect.
So if you even just saw what happened there, I decided to go live. It didn't work. There was no sound. And I didn't stress. I just simply went live again.
Right.
And Twitter is a platform where people are very forgiving. Why? Because in the feed, tweets come and they go. I think it's like every 18 seconds or something like that. Do we have volume? All 11 people, volume, yes and no? People are joining, we're
Can you
figuring
hear
out.
us?
Can you hear us? Thumbs up or not?
Thumbs up?
Let's see, we're like, oh my gosh. Looking. Okay,
Oh, wait, we got some hearts.
we got some hearts. Hearts
All
is
right.
fine, they can hear us.
All right, awesome.
Can you hear us? As an overarching, what we've covered so far is that when you can document what's happening, document it.
Mm-hmm.
If you have no fear to go live, go live. If it
not?
doesn't work, then just try it again.
Exactly.
There's a good Twitter tip that translates to not all platforms. Because I would not, if I went on Instagram and I posted something and it was weird or broken, I would likely remove it because
Right.
people judge you on your grid. And if you look
Right.
at the feed, it's like I've tweeted 20, 30 times today.
Right.
So what I did 20, 30 minutes ago, nobody really cares about, right?
Right.
All right, so what do you want to know about Twitter?
Okay, so, hi.
Oh, yeah, thank
thank
you.
you so much.
Appreciate it.
Thanks. Sunny's.
Let me see. Okay,
Those look good.
it's gonna be some good advice.
He wears his sunglasses at night and during the day.
Hopefully they're SPF. Okay.
Hopefully. So, okay, new to Twitter.
Yes.
And so I follow a bunch of people on Twitter, love it. Now, my first question is about the content, right?
Yes.
Should I be, constantly tweeting about not my brand, but kind of my content buckets, right? I like to focus a lot on mindset, ego, identity, the comeback, confidence, resilience, anti-fragility. Should all my content be focused around that? What is the balance between what is I want to talk about from a business standpoint and personal?
Okay. So great question. And it's a question that a lot of people have. And I'm not ignoring you. I'm also playing to the
go
cameras
for it.
here,
Play
right?
to the camera.
So the question is, what's the best ratio between business and personal?
Right.
The ideal way in which you can ditch the act, and which is totally counterintuitive, and that you wouldn't really think and you won't believe until you try it, most of your posts should be personal.
Okay.
Now that is a hard thing to do, and I've learned this the hard way because I came out the gates, everything business, even stick figure business, and podcast business, I'm speaking business, and I didn't see much traction, and it's because I didn't get people to get to know me. So in the book we talk about a really good ratio to force yourself to start off with is 1-for-1.
Okay.
Is half and half.
Okay.
Now I'm going to be honest in that I'm getting to that, but everything's a gradual, slow, steady move. And so when I was all business, and now I'm moving to I'd say 30-40% personal,
Right.
and these level 1 and level 2 tweets help me to increase that level.
Okay.
So if you can shoot for 50-50, that's a good way to look at it. If people don't get to know you, then they're not going to like you and they're not going to trust you. And people who just do business stuff all the time, it feels spammy and nobody will connect, nobody will engage.
Right.
In the book, we talk about 5 levels of exposure.
What's the name of that book again?
Ditch the act.
Ditch the act.
And I was sharing, if you want anything to stick on your forehead, all you have to do is lick it and stick it. Works with business cards, works with all kinds of stuff
All
like
right,
this.
I'm so backing this.
Okay?
And you can buy this book in October.
Yes, right now you can order now. I don't even know if
Pre-order.
this. Did we see this big product placement in the background
Look at
here?
that.
Okay, look at that. All right, so we have some tangible advice. The question is, what's the ratio?
Ratio.
The ratio is going to be different for every person.
Okay.
And as you just start off, you are not going to be comfortable sharing all the personal stuff. So it's fine to have some business, but you'll see that those tweets don't get traction. if you've, like, as a good indicator of what might resonate with your audience is what resonates with you.
Right.
And if you're scrolling through Twitter and you'll see stuff that seems promotional and you'll be like, no, 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 no. And then you might see something that you relate to. Whatever that tweet is maybe an indication of something that might work for you.
Okay.
If it stops your thumb, it might stop somebody else's thumb. The way to work up gradually to getting more comfortable sharing personal stuff is working through these 5 levels of exposure. And the first level is silly, stupid stuff that happens or that you say to yourself or that you do that you don't want anybody to know about.
Okay.
And a really funny example is one that was very challenging for me to do at Entrepreneuza. I had a big old pimple on my forehead, like a big zit. And I don't get zits, right? But I had a big old pimple. And I was about to give this keynote. It was like, a couple hundred people there. And I was more concerned because it was a 3-camera shoot. And I was like, this is going to be good for my footage and everything. And I texted Leonard and I said, Leonard, I have this huge pimple on my forehead. It's about to crown. I'm not sure what to do. I'm on stage in like 30 minutes. And there are moments where you will text your friends things that you need advice on.
Right.
Those are level 1.
Okay.
They don't have to just be tweets. Those are level 1 posts.
Okay.
So if you actually look at your best friend and the feed that you have, okay, you will find these level 1 exposures.
All right.
I'm not feeling well. Oh my gosh, I woke up, I'm super hungover and I don't want to tell my boss I don't want, oh my gosh, this, like, oh my gosh, she didn't go, like, oh my gosh.
Yes.
Okay? So for this, Leonard said, this is a great example of a level 1 tweet that you need to share out. So it took everything within me. And I didn't even know what to say. So he said, say this, right? That one individual tweet where I said, I have a crowning pimple on my forehead, I'm about to go in front of hundreds of people with 3-camera shoot, I'm not sure if I should pop it or not, it almost broke the internet. And I don't think I've ever had a tweet that was as engaged. There was team pop it, there was team not pop it, there was like people saying use concealer, like all this stuff.
Yeah, toothpaste.
So what happened was that I actually used, somebody saw it and offered me her concealer. So we did concealer, and then I walk out, and on the huge stage, it was like a 60-foot screen by 40-foot screen, and it was a tool that showed all the popular trending tweets based on the hashtag. And of course they use a hashtag. So I walk into this thing and I have my face like this, showing my pimple in front of the entire audience that I'm going to speak to. Talk about a moment, and I was like, oh damn. So it was all out there, and because it was out there, I wasn't stressed on it. It was out in the public, it was out in the open. And that tweet, from a metric standpoint, got more traction, more retweets, more engagement, more impressions than any other tweet of the entire conference, over a 4-day conference.
Oh my God, Landon must have loved that one.
And if you actually go on Twitter and search @RyanFoland pimple, you will see it. There's still hundreds of people, and I get comments still every once in a while on it.
I'm surprised the pimple doesn't have its own Twitter account.
Maybe. Well, it's gone now. Okay.
Hopefully it doesn't come back.
I did have a pimple the other day, and it just didn't faze me as much because I'm getting more comfortable with the fact that I'm human. So, it could be having a pimple.
Okay.
Oh, a side quick story. The cameraman took me aside afterwards and said, hey, I saw the tweet. I told the whole camera crew to be aware of it and to put on a special filter specifically. I'm like,
oh my God, you've just inspired me. Now I know what to do at my next speaking
we should
event.
call it pimple-spiration, right? So it's not easy for me to share that. It wasn't easy to, but all of a sudden it like diffused the whole everything.
Right.
In the book, we have a whole bunch of pre-written posts. Things like, I'm hungry, but I'm too lazy to go to the fridge. I just spilled water all over myself. I can't believe I did it again. I blank. The other day on the way up here, I saw somebody flick a cigarette butt out of the window. It really pissed me off.
Right.
And I wanted to stop and talk to, yell at the person, but I didn't, and I shared it as a tweet. If you've ever been pissed off at somebody flicking a cigarette butt out of the window, you have an emotional attachment to that tweet, you want to participate, you want to get involved with it.
Right.
So you could tie in parts of resilience, parts of rigidity, parts of persistence with level 1 exposures by sharing the challenges that you've had.
Okay.
And when you share, and we talk about this, it's not about just sharing for the sake of sharing. Level 1, you can share whenever, as it happens, right? Because it just happens, right? Level 2 is challenges that you have with relationships with other people.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well,
how many
of you?
How many people have had a conflict with somebody else, whether it's a loved one or whether it's we all have had these conflicts.
Right.
So if you get in a fight with somebody, or you're upset, or it could even be upset at somebody's driving, that could be level 2, because it's now not just you, it's you being
involved.
aware of other people.
Got it.
And we all have been around other people that makes life difficult. So you share what that is, and it gives people a chance to speak from their own experience and give you advice.
Okay, I love that.
Okay?
I love that.
I tell people, no one cares about your story. They care about how they see themselves in your story.
Say that again.
Nobody cares about your story.
Right.
They do care about how they see themselves in your story.
Okay, in terms of how they relate to that?
Sure. So an
Sure,
example, let's
okay.
say, you're getting more in the speaking scene.
Yeah.
So it's one thing to say, I'm a keynote speaker and I speak on this topic and I'm crushing it. That's your story.
Okay, yeah. That's
Or
my story.
or your story is that, like, I came from a sports agency and then I just
Yes.
transitioned into influence and now I'm speaking all the time and everything's amazing.
Right.
That's your story. But I'm not involved, I'm not in that industry, I don't really, and it actually makes me feel bad that I didn't get the speaking gig that I got last week or the week before. I'm like,
Yes.
But if you said, my story is one that might sound familiar. I was super passionate about a job and career that I had for over
20 years.
20 years.
Yes.
And there became a turning point when what happened?
I got cancer.
When I got cancer. And that was a point where I had to change how I looked at the entire world.
Yep.
And I took lock and stock and barrel what was important to me. And what's important to me is
Less stress.
less stress. And by having less stress, I figured I could use what was at my disposal, which was what I've learned in not only my 20 years as a professional
Right.
career, but dealing with a very real life-threatening disease and feeling like what's important for me, what makes me happy, is helping other people through their challenges.
Exactly.
And I happen to be a speaker.
Right. Love
You
it.
see the difference between
Totally.
that?
I totally love that, and that makes so much sense.
So
Yeah.
we've known each other for a while, and that was maybe the first, on the spot that I really realized that was part of it, right? And even though I haven't had cancer, I am a ginger, and melanoma runs in my family,
Yep.
and my dad has had half his ear cut off, and all these things, and it's coming down the line. So, you may not think other people have cancer, but just the fact that you're doing that, I got the goosebumps, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's this connection there. So, level 1 and level 2 is what gets people to get to know you.
Okay.
And if you really don't share with people that part of your story, then you're just going to seem like another somewhat
I know.
puffed up speaker who's trying to get speaking fees.
Right. Right.
As opposed to oh my God, your experience and your expertise gives you authority, and the fact that there's sports, that's cool. It's a fun spin.
Absolutely.
So there could be a whole series of tweets around some of the challenges that you're being reminded of. It could be going to make your coffee and not having enough to make a full thing, which happened to me the other day.
And it's like mind blowing.
And do you see what just happened there? You're like, So somebody might do a mind blow emoji to that.
Yes.
But your physical response to that is because you related to it.
Oh, so much so. Yes. Yes. Okay.
So it's these little things that people engage with.
right.
The more sexualized posts and the more things that are nice to look at, people might look at it, they might like it, but maybe it's not that kind of connection that you want.
Correct. Yeah.
So there's this misnomer and this mishap where you have people that are sharing these things that maybe people like, but they're not necessarily going to share, and they're not going to engage. Engage is when you have an emotional connection and you want to say, me too. I know this is a long answer, but this is deep. The original question, if you're joining us, is how do I find the right balance between personal and business? The fact is, people do not share enough personal because they think business is important.
Right.
But what is important is getting people to know you, like you, and trust you, so they will do business with you.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So level 1 tweets help to establish that you're human. Level 2 tweets show that you actually engage with other people and share relative challenges. Level 3 are things like financial struggles or relationship struggles that might be more towards nearing towards a divorce. Or it might be dealing with aging parents, or it might be coming out of the closet. These things that you can't just be like, hey, everything's fine. Oh, by the way, I'm getting a divorce.
Right. That's not a period at the end of that
No.
sentence. There's
So you warm up your audience to
Right.
it. But the fact that you are getting a divorce in the way that you position it and the lessons you've had from it and how that's going to impact you and change you as a person, you're letting people know who you are along the way. And if you hide it, it's easy for people to judge you when they find out about it because you've been hiding it.
Right.
So Twitter is a place where you can give these level 1 and level 2 all day long. Level 3 And level 3 is these heavier ones. And level 4 are the big business failures, the being investigated, the getting a DUI, these things that you feel like will ruin your reputation. But if you warm people up and you incorporate them into your content in a way that builds you as a whole person, then people get to know you, they like you, and trust you. If you go to my about page and you read like the good, the bad, and my version of ugly,
Right.
and I want to get all that stuff out front. And so sometimes sharing is just even packing it 3,000 words deep into a blog post. If you're super scared to share it really publicly, then you can point to it. Because if you can't point to it, then it's as though you're trying to lie by omission.
And it's so funny. I mean, I love that point because as a sports agent for 20 years, I was swimming in a sea of sharks. I mean, everybody was looking for your weakness. Yes, total jaws. Wanting to steal your clients, the whole 9 yards. And I had dealt with depression since from a young age, since I was about 7, 8 years old. And I hid it my whole career. I knew that if anyone knew, like, forget it. It would be like the death of me in my business. The minute I started opening up about that and sharing that, the floodgates opened of everybody else with their story and what have you. And it was like, oh my stars, like the more honest I was about that, the more people opened up to me, trusted me too, like you're saying. Like, it is incredible when you do share these stories. I do think it's putting your best foot forward.
Here's an interesting example from a guy named Emmanuel, who I met recently in Haiti. When you go to a restaurant and you ask the waiter, what's good on the menu? And if the waiter says, everything is amazing. Everything is good. That's good, 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 and that's good. All of them are very good. How much do you trust that waiter?
Not that much.
But when you ask a waiter, like, so what's good on the menu? And then they kind of do this. They kind of look, they're like, all right, so here's the deal. The A is my favorite. The C, not so good. Portions, if you're both eating, it's going to be this one, and I'd avoid this whole section here.
Yeah.
So what would you like? And you're like, whatever you said.
Exactly.
Right?
And he gets 20%, maybe 25% tip.
Yeah, you're going to pay him more.
Yeah,
so
for being honest.
So think about not being the waiter that says that everything's good because people won't trust you as much.
Right.
So the answer to the question is try to get to the 50% and then even get more than 50% if you can, because the business or promotional posts will seem less promotional. And I have people that follow my content and get to know me, and then it happens that I post a podcast and then they might listen to it. But they're not going to listen to the podcast just because it's a podcast. And we tend to think that our stuff is great because we're producing it. We want it to look good. We just have it out there. So if you're just bombarding people with business, they're not going to relate to you as a person, and you will never connect with them. People want to do business with people. So your ratio, what is your ratio right now?
I would say it's, I've been confused, so I've been holding back, which is, not a good thing.
So try this try this. So let's say 5 posts a week.
Okay.
Take 2 of the stories that are, we would call them exposure stories.
Okay.
Stories that don't necessarily go right.
Yep.
2 stories that are positive in nature from your learning experience.
Okay.
And then another one that's maybe more like educational based on an experience or something that's happening.
Okay, awesome.
So go for 2 good, 2 bad, and then 1 that's sort of educational.
Awesome. Now you have something that's really awesome, which is the...
Oh wait, what is it saying?
Broadcast failed.
You want to hit it again? We're also going
We're on
live.
Periscope, so...
Stop recording broadcast, or?
Is there a continue button?
See?
Continue,
Live.
but
We're
might
just
screw up.
That's fine.
making this happen.
Okay,
Yeah.
whatever.
What is it still recording now?
This is live.
Well, let's check on Facebook real quick. Can you check for me?
Is mine Foland?
Yeah. And we're also periscoping, so we got our double, right?
Backup plan. I like it.
Always.
That's okay, right?
Yeah, just a second ago. What's up?
What's up? Nice to meet you. You guys doing the live stream right now?
We are, yeah. You want
Yeah.
to say hi to the world? I'm gonna
Say hi.
So we're on Periscope now. Now you're on. What's up?
Hello world. I'm Sakay. Hi, I'm Sakay. Two Sakays, the more the better. So I hear.
So what brings you here to this conference then?
I came because it's Sakay. Don't listen to that guy. I came, I'm a student and I also own a small business that installs home automation products down in San Diego called Witty Home. And then Ishmael was kind enough to invite me up here, and I actually met him through Leonard over here.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Sweet.
just ended up here.
Right on.
This cut off at 1 minute and 12 seconds.
Okay.
I
So
think
we should
it's because you were tethering, then you periscope, so maybe your tether stopped.
maybe. All right. Cool. Well, let's hit it
problem.
again. We'll do
So
a take
you
2.
need somewhere to tether this thing.
No, it should be fine onto the.
But you're using periscope on there.
So I'm not tethered, and this should